Hey everyone, I'm Sage Valentine and welcome to my channel of the same name. Right now I'm going to review for you guys Fox's The Following Season 3 Episode 7 entitled The Hunt. This was a really good episode and it definitely lived up to its title of being The Hunt, because at one point in the episode there is a hunt for Theo, even though most of the characters don't know the killer's name is Theo. Then there's Max hunting for Theo while Theo is hunting for Max. Then there is this hunt for Lewis. Then there is this hunt for Duncan. Just like a whole crap load of hunts. I thought it was pretty cool and pretty interesting how Theo ended up springing Duncan from that escort by killing the marshals, disabling their car, and rerouting them, and then shutting off their phones and everything, because Duncan is definitely afraid of Theo. So the fact that he had to deal with Theo was hilarious to me. And you could tell that he was freaked out by Theo, because he just would not stop talking. He kept talking and talking and talking and talking. And Theo's like, "Do you always talk this much? Do you always ask this many questions?" I guess Theo's a pretty private person, which is funny considering that he is a husband and he has 2 children. This dude has some serious personas. Alrighty, so Ryan Hardy basically starts sounding a lot like Joe Carroll, and Joe Carroll is really embedded into his head, especially after Ryan visited him. And maybe Ryan didn't realize this in the beginning, but Marshall Scott Taylor, the African-American guy with the glasses and the grayish hair, and I think he had on a skull cap or something, it was navy, he noticed it and he said, "Dude, you're starting to sound like Joe and you're starting to quote him." Then Ryan basically throws this back well, if you thought that Joe could help you get these killers of the marshals, you would come visit him too. So Marshall Taylor has nothing to say to that, but he was definitely hitting on the nail on the head when he said that Ryan is starting to sound like Joe. He definitely is. There's some tension between Tom and Mike that's not going away anytime soon. In all honesty, I think that Tom should basically go to Mike and tell him, dude, or not even Mike. Tom should go to Max and talk to her about this, because this is getting worse. On top of the fact that Tom has seriously become a peeping Tom. He's still watching Max, and it's weird and it's creepy. And if this dude turns out to be one of Strauss's people or an extra follower or something like that, I will not be surprised, because this dude is creepy. And so is Agent Sloane. This woman always seems to find the information all the time when they need it, right when they need it. She's the little suspect to me. Poor Max, though, ended up having to go back in the field earlier than she should have, basically because she was bored. And I love Max to death, but her injury and the fact that she was kind of she took a back seat to everything after she was hit in the head, which is understandable, has impaired her to the point whereas she finds herself in the middle of this cat and mouse game with Theo. She doesn't know that it's Theo. She bumps into him earlier in the episode. She doesn't see anything is weird about this dude at all. Ryan Hardy would have picked it up like that. Mike would have picked it up like that. She's a little off because of that injury, and I hope she gets better soon. What else happened? Max tried her best to explain to Tucker and to Collins that, whoever hacked into the FBI obviously is brilliant, and they're thinking, no, it's some type of pod or something of people, and Tucker is co-signing everything Collins is saying, and Max is hell no, this is one person. Meanwhile, they're arguing with this. Theo's slipping off into Collins' office doing a file transfer. But not too long before that, he's talking to a coworker who instantly recognizes him. And I'm just dude, you just basically killed yourself at that point. when he's just like, you're not supposed to be here. Like, didn't you take some time off? I'm like, just mind your own business. People just cannot mind their own business on this show, I swear. So anyway, Theo does that file transfer, slips out of the office, bumps into, without anybody seeing him, bumps into Max, has some idle chit-chat with her. She doesn't pick up at all that Theo's a little strange or different like this. Like I said, this dude and his personas are ridiculous. She mentions about her injury, so now Theo knows she has this injury. Then, once this file transfer is complete, I guess, Agent Sloane sees that Collins had been doing something iffy on his computer, but we know that was Theo, but basically Theo framed Collins, so the next thing you know, Max and Sloane are sitting there arresting Collins, trying to take him out of there while Theo goes and hides somewhere. Then old dude who said that he basically, or was old dude, the one that was like all in Theo's business, he basically ends up volunteering his services. I'm like, dude, you don't know that Theo's listening to you, idiot. And he's like, oh, no. Somebody could do some type of shadow encryption, such and such program. And I'm just like, dude, you're like putting like a death warrant right on you. Like, you just want to die. So he's running his mouth, doesn't know that Theo can hear him. All the other FBI agents are gone. It's just Max and this guy. And I'm just like, where the hell are all these agents? So what ends up happening is that Theo gets into the server room, unplugs a few things. This dude notices. He goes to the server room. Theo kills him. Then it's basically Max and Theo playing this cat and mouse game where Theo almost catches Max until he hears the sirens, the police sirens, and they're coming close. Meanwhile, Ryan Hardy is on the trail of this kid, Lewis, whose friends were murdered at a card game that he had just left. Like, if this dude had stayed maybe a minute or so later, or if he had waited a minute or so for that elevator, he would have been dead. And his friends probably still would be dead. But anyway, what ended up happening was that he's fingered for their murders while he's with his girlfriend having sex, and they see it on the news. And he hears some sound, and that's Duncan, because Theo had to go back to work, basically, to deal with what was going on with Manatech. He told Duncan, you have to kill this guy, destroy the evidence, and if you fail, I'm killing you. So Lewis goes down to the second floor of his girlfriend's house. He's looking around. He doesn't see anything. Comes back upstairs. The girlfriend's dead. He gets knocked in the head. Then we see him later. Meanwhile, Scott and Mike and Ryan are at the girlfriend's house, and they see the body, and they're trying to put two and two together about Lewis. So what happens is that Duncan pulls up to the warehouse where Lewis prints out all the fake passports and IDs and stuff, and they're outside, and Lewis and Duncan's just like, let's go, Lewis. And Lewis was like, no, dude, we could just leave. We could just go. You know, we don't have to stay here. But Duncan knows that if he runs, Theo will find him and will kill him, and Lewis won't make it far either. Theo is like 10 steps ahead of everybody, and he is an internet or hacking genius. Like, this dude will probably figure out if they're in Timbuktu and go there and kill them. Like, this dude is seriously determined. So they get in the warehouse, they're doing what they have to do, and right before Duncan is about to kill Lewis, here comes Theo calling, and Theo calls him and says, I need you to do one more job. So all of a sudden, Ryan and the crew, they get this like traffic camera video where you see Duncan and Lewis, and they're basically outside talking. So Hardy and the gang, the FBI, the marshals, and everybody there racing over there to get to the warehouse. And to make a long story short, what ends up happening is that they burst in there. There's a firefight. Lewis is apprehended. Duncan takes off running. Hardy and Mike go after him. Hardy gets shot, Ryan, in the chest. And I'm just like, Lord, he's getting shot by his heart again. Thank God for Kevlar. So basically, he's going to get shot and hurt with his heart again. If you haven't seen the first 2 seasons, Ryan deals with a lot of stuff happening to his poor ticker. It's so sad. But anyway, what happens is that Duncan thinks he's dead. Ryan rises up, shoots Duncan, and then kills him. Then they find out that the passport, or that Lewis was creating one last passport, and it was a passport for this guy, Tucker. So Tucker's going to his apartment, and he goes inside, and who does he see but Theo sitting in there? And I'm freaking out, like, okay, is Tucker involved in this thing? And what does he do? He calls Theo Scott. I'm like, well, who the heck is Scott? Is his name Theo? Is he Scott? What are all these personas? Like, come on, dude. But to make matters worse, like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and then the scene cuts. And then we see Theo at home with his wife and kids, and they're all snuggled up in bed, and Theo's still awake with this sinister look in his eyes. Meanwhile, Ryan Hardy's having this dream about being at this bar with Joe Carroll. And Joe's like, I believe in you. I'm your constant true north, always by your side. It's you and me against the world. And I'm just like, well, what the hell is going on? When did Joe get out of jail? And then Ryan wakes up and we find out that it's a dream. Seriously, this season is getting better and better, and this episode was awesome to me. And I'm sorry that it took me a while to do this review. I've been dealing with a lot. There was a death of a family friend, and I'm trying to get my head focused on these reviews and on Camp NaNoWriMo, and I'm out of it. But I promise you guys, I will get you your Mad Men reviews as soon as possible. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to rate this video, leave your comments, let me know what you're thinking of this season, this episode, and how awesome is Theo. Let me know what you think of him. Also hit that subscribe button below, and again, check me out on Twitter and Google+, Sage Valentine. Until next time, you all take care. I'm Sage Valentine, signing off. I've got a Mad Men review and a Survivor review this week, so stay tuned. I love you all. Bye, guys. Bye.